Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing June favorites. I cannot believe it's already July. I love these videos. They have always been my favorite videos to watch and they're my favorite videos to film. A lot of things to share with you guys today. I initially didn't think I had very many things to talk about until I really started to look at what I've been using lately and loving, and I have quite a few things to share with you guys. So I hope you guys are excited. Any of you that are new, welcome to my channel. I hope that you'll stick around, hit that subscribe button, and with that said, let's jump right in. So I want to kind of go out of order today. We're going to start with the palette type of item. And the first one I want to share with you guys is this little guy right here. This is a face palette from Cover FX. This is their Perfector face palette in the light medium shade. This came in BoxyCharm, I think in December or January, sometime in the winter. And initially when I opened this thing up, I just didn't think that this would work for me, mainly because when I saw these two highlights right here, they actually look even deeper than they're looking right now. I just thought this probably would not work for me. And to be honest, I think in the middle of the winter, these highlights don't work for me other than this one in the middle. So I kind of put it off to the side thinking, well, if the whole palette doesn't work for me, I'm not going to reach for it. But I pulled this back out over the last month and I have been using this thing constantly. I love this palette. This bronzer is perfect for my skin tone. It works perfectly to sort of contour but also kind of warm up my complexion. The two highlights work for me really well. I love even using these on my eyes. This little shade in the middle right here, which is kind of the brightener shade, this is perfect for like a spotlighted highlight, or I love using it on my inner corner. The blush in here is very beautiful. It's just a soft pink, which looks so pretty on a tan complexion. I say tan complexion. I am by no means tan, but I'm tanner right now than I am in the dead of winter. This is just that perfect tone of pink blush that just really makes you look kind of young and vibrant and fresh. It goes really good with a bronzed kind of glowy complexion. And then this right here is a finishing powder. I initially didn't like this very much because it does have a little bit of glitter in it, but it does work really well as a powder if I'm traveling, I'm on the go. It's not my favorite setting powder or even pressed powder that I own, but I do use it. I do think it's pretty good and it works pretty good for my skin tone. So I've just been loving this thing. I love using it. All of the colors work really well together and it's beautiful on the eyes as well. But to go along with that, when I'm not in the mood for a pink cheek, I have been loving this thing, and this also came in a BoxyCharm. I actually have 3 things today that have come in BoxyCharm. This one is the Alamar Cosmetics Colorette Blush Trio. This one's in the color Fair Light. I love this thing. And the reason I love this thing, other than the fact that these blushes are beautiful, the formula is really nice, I really think these blush colors are very unique to my collection. These are the type of blush colors that inspire me, and that doesn't happen very often. Usually blush is more of a functional item for me. It's not super often that I come across a blush that I almost want to center the rest of my makeup look around that blush. But that's kind of how I feel about these colors. This orange in particular, while I don't think it's a type of color that goes with everything, I love using it because it's just a little bit different and unique on the cheeks, but it's still very pretty, very wearable. This center shade right here is a perfect everyday kind of blush color. And then I love that this one is like a mixture of the two. It's the perfect kind of pinky peach. Beautiful blush colors for the spring and summer. I absolutely have been loving this. Moving on to an eyeshadow palette. I'm guessing that some of you guys might be able to guess. Next thing I want to share with you guys, you probably can guess. It's an eyeshadow palette. It is the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I hesitate to recommend this to anyone for a couple of reasons, but as I have been looking at the palettes that I've been using over the last 3 or 4 weeks, this is the one I've been using the most. I've really been enjoying this palette despite the fact that it was a pretty penny. And normally I have buyer's remorse when I purchase things that are a little bit more expensive, but I'm really enjoying this palette. Now, I definitely still think it's way expensive. I think spending $130 on an eyeshadow palette for me personally is crazy. I just think that although her formula is really nice, I've really been enjoying working with this. I do think it is a better formula than even the ColourPop eyeshadows, but I do love ColourPop eyeshadows, and I think the difference between the two doesn't justify the massive price difference, if that makes sense. But if you are someone that, number one, enjoys this type of a color story, if you are someone that likes to invest in higher end products, if you have a little bit more disposable income, I would recommend this one. I really am enjoying it. But I definitely wouldn't avoid paying your cable bill or your electricity bill just to purchase this palette or feed your children or buy diapers, those type of things. I just think it is still really expensive. When you break it down per gram, this is actually priced about the same as her $130 eyeshadow palettes, which really blows my mind. I know that there are people out there that are okay with that, and that is absolutely okay, but I am just someone that, as much as I enjoy having this one, I have my one Natasha Denona palette, and I think that's all I can do for at least for a very long time. Just make sure that you think you'll get use out of this color story, because I think when you're spending that much on an eyeshadow palette, you want to make sure it's something that you're going to use, if not every day, often, more than once a month or once a week. I hope that wasn't too contradictory, but I have to be honest with you guys. I've been loving this. It has been a favorite of mine, but I don't know that it's worth it for everyone. That's what I was trying to say, and took a very long time to say it. Let's move on. Now I want to mention for you guys a primer. This is something that took me a little while to fall in love with, and it is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. I've been using this very often throughout the last month. Here's what I love this specifically for. If you have breakouts on your face that are kind of healing, and you know how sometimes breakouts can sort of scab or they get that rough skin around them, this works so well for kind of softening up that rough or kind of chapped or cracked skin before you put your foundation on. It just helps your foundation not cling to those dry areas as much. I recently heard Andrea Montiliano mention that she found a very close dupe for this from Catrice. Not sure what that product was called. I will try to link it down below if I can find it. This is a pricier primer. If I run out of this, I probably will go try out the Catrice one. And honestly, I'm not sure that I would repurchase this because it is a little bit expensive. For where I am in my life right now, I don't typically like to invest in higher end primers. But if you have issues like that, if you have trouble with foundation clinging onto dry skin, that's absolutely who I think this primer is made for. Speaking of foundation, I have a foundation combination. That rhymed. To share with you guys. And it is these two right here. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation, which I have mentioned in a favorites video already. I love mixing that lately with this right here. This is the Becca Aqua Luminous Foundation in the color Light. This foundation I picked up over the winter time. I think I picked it up during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty actually, so it was probably, when was that, April? Initially this was too dark for me. I couldn't use it on its own. I wasn't even sure that I liked the formula. I tried it out once or twice and I couldn't decide if I just didn't like the formula or if I just didn't like it because it was too dark for me. However, this foundation, which I do love, is a little bit too light for me now that I have gotten a little bit of a tan. Combining these two together not only gives me the perfect shade, but it creates the perfect foundation for me. And here's the reason why. This foundation, the L'Oreal Fresh Wear, I love this foundation, but I do find, not that it's drying on me, but it's not hydrating for my skin. And I like something typically that adds a little bit of hydration, so I have to be very careful with how I prep my skin before I use this. I feel like that problem is remedied with this foundation right here. Now my point in bringing these two up right now is not necessarily to say, go buy these two foundations, this is magic, it's going to change your life. But if you have a foundation that maybe has one weakness, try mixing in a foundation that maybe fills in that weakness, if that makes sense. So if you have a foundation, even if it's not these two, that is maybe long wearing but you wish it was more hydrating, try combining it with another foundation that you think is very hydrating but isn't as long wearing. That might sound totally obvious to you guys. I know a lot of us probably like to mix our foundations, but generally I mix my foundations to get a shade match and not necessarily for the finishes. But I have discovered that mixing foundations with different finishes can make a really beautiful foundation finish. Moving into a bronzer, sort of. This I picked up in the Sephora VIB sale. It is the Nude Sticks Nudies Matte Bronzer Stick. This one is in the color Sunkissed. I love this thing, and I think if you guys watched my Sephora VIB sale try-on haul, I tried out this product for the first time in that video, and I liked it, but I found that because I applied it with my finger in that video, it tended to lift up the foundation underneath. I got a lot of recommendations from you guys to use a stippling brush or a brush to apply it instead of applying it directly to my skin or with my finger. Genius. That absolutely solved the problems that I was having. So I left the stippling brush that I prefer to use upstairs. It was just a cheap stippling brush from Morphe. I've also used my e.l.f. stippling brush with it, both of which work fantastically well. Just something really light that's not overly dense. I prefer to put this on the back of my hand first and then go in with my stippling brush and apply it. I just think that's a little bit more sanitary for me, considering that I don't wash my brushes as often as I should. But that has honestly made such a difference with this product. I love this stuff because it really does stay in place all day once it sets down. Also love the color of this for the summertime. It's a great blush color. If you want to be extra and apply it with a bronzer, it meshes with any bronzer, but you can also apply this on its own as the only color that you're wearing. I am wearing that today, but I'm wearing it with like every other product that I talked about today. I went in with that first, then I added a little bit of the Cover FX bronzer underneath it. Then I went on top of it right here in the center with this orange blush right here. So I probably should have stuck to one or two to demonstrate for you guys, because A lot of combinations going on my cheeks today. Moving on to a concealer, I know that I've recently talked about this, and the fact that I've been rediscovering my love for this is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer. I have mine in the shade 020. This is a great concealer. I don't know why I put this away for so long. I mean, I have a lot of concealers that I really love, and I still love. I love my Too Faced concealer. I love my e.l.f. concealer. I did mention though, if I use that one too many times in a row, it does tend to break me out a little bit, especially on my cheekbone area right here. This stuff is so good. I love the formula of this. It has really good coverage, but it's lightweight, it's easy to blend, it's not overly drying. Just a really good all-around concealer. So I have a mascara to share with you guys. I'm gonna say this wasn't something that I was like over the moon in love with, but when I sat down and was looking at the products that I've been using a lot lately and what I've really been like especially enjoying and what things I've just been reaching for and asking myself why, I kept coming back to this mascara. This is the Collab mascara that I featured recently in my trying out makeup from Sally's Beauty Supply video, and I've just really been enjoying this mascara. I don't think it's the best mascara in the world. This doesn't give me incredible like dramatic lashes like the IT Cosmetics mascara does, but it gives me really nice lashes. It lasts so well on me. It does not flake or smudge at all. I have it on today, and it's a very good defining and separating mascara. So if you kind of like the look of like wet sort of eyelashes rather than dry, sort of feathery, wild looking eyelashes. I'm kind of making up my own descriptive words. I hope that kind of makes sense to you guys. But this is that type of a mascara. I think it's a little expensive. This, I think if you buy it not on sale, is, I want to say it's like $12.99 or $14.99, which for a sort of drugstore brand mascara I think is really expensive. But I have been reaching for this over and over again, and I really do like what it does for my lashes. So, had to mention it. So the last two things I have to share with you guys are both lip products, and one of them, we're going to start off with this one. It's not necessarily a lip product, but it's what helps me to wear this liquid lipstick that we'll get to in just a sec. I struggle to wear liquid lipsticks because I have very dry lips naturally, plus I'm a little bit older, so I do have quite a few lines in my lips. I have a couple of very pronounced lines that make it very difficult for a liquid lipstick to look good on my lips. But recently I have been using this thing right here. This is from Lancino. This is their 100% lanolin cream. I got this when I was pregnant with Charlie, thinking that I would need it to breastfeed her because it had been 7 years since my last pregnancy when I had her, and so I assumed that my nipples would have a rough go. Apparently by your fourth child, you have nipples of steel. Sorry, this is way too much information, but I didn't end up using it, and I remember hearing that this was good for your lips, so I tried this out very randomly, and I love what this does for my lip. When I first put this on, it's very thick. It reminds me of like a tar-like Vaseline. It's very, very thick. As this sits on my lips and warms up and kind of melts, it just gets this really nice, hydrating, protective kind of slip to it. It really helps to like moisten and soften and plump my lips, which I absolutely need if I'm going to be using a liquid lipstick. I've been absolutely loving it. I am not one to spend a lot of money on like a really nice lip mask, but this has definitely been doing a really good job. So now that we have that kind of embarrassing one out of the way, let's move on to what is on my lips right now. And it's this little guy right here. This is the liquid lipstick from Dose of Colors. This is the color Bittersweet. I got this in BoxyCharm just recently, this last month. And I love this color. This is just the sort of red that I absolutely love. It's a very red with a hint of orange. You guys know I love my orangey reds. I feel like whenever I'm talking about a red, I'm always talking about the fact that I love an orangey red on me specifically. I think it's bright. I think it's fun. I'm the type of person that when it comes to color on my lips, if I'm going to do it, I'm going all in. I'm going to do something really bright, really intense, really vibrant, almost neon. But I feel that way whether it's an orangey red or whether it's a vibrant pink. I love a bold, intense, in-your-face kind of lip color if I'm going to do a bold lip. And that's exactly what this color is. This is just a perfect red with a hint of orange in it. So I want to compare this to a couple other colors that I also love so you guys can kind of see how this compares swatch. So I'm going to start off right here. This is what I'm wearing on my lips right now, just so you can see it next to the other swatches. I love this formula. It still is a liquid lipstick. It still is drying, but it's not as drying as some of the other liquid lipstick formulas that I've tried. I'm going to compare that to this one right here. This is also one of my favorite liquid lipsticks. I don't know if you can still find these. This is from Jordana. This is one of their Sweet Cream Matte lip colors in the color Mango Sorbet. This one is quite similar. It does have a little bit more brightness to it and a little bit more orange to it. I mean, honestly, they look almost identical to each other, but on the lips I feel like this one is even a little bit more orange. I also want to compare it to this one right here because I think a lot of people might have this color. This is from Persona Cosmetics. This is her Holy Grail red. This is a great red as well. This is a very standard red. This one doesn't have any orange in it, but it's also not very pink toned either. I feel like this is just a great red, if that makes sense. It doesn't quite have the punchiness that these two have, but there they are right there. Those three, you can see they're all just a little bit different. They might look absolutely identical to you guys, but trust me, on the lips, they all have a little bit different of a personality, a little different feel to them. But I've just really been enjoying this one. I think it's a perfect red for summer. And with that said, that is it for my favorite products from the month of June. These are the things I've just been reaching for over and over again and really enjoying this last month. I would love to know in the comments below, what have you guys been loving throughout the month of June? And of course, if you've tried any of these products and if they did or didn't work for you, let us know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. Hope that you guys are having a great start to your summer, if it's summer where you're living. If you are new here, I hope that you'll stick around, hit the subscribe button, ring that little notification bell, and that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you again. I hope that you have a good one. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Not just in the finish, but also in the... Wait, no, that didn't make sense. Oh no, the bun. The bun is failing. Shoot. That if I'm... Like, I just... Oh my goodness, Mandy.